Hello again, it's Marxist, and today we'll be talking about holding on CP process. I'm going to give you two holds for each point. It'll be a lot like the video I already did for Badlands. This is episode 2 of the series on process. So, first off, I'm going to go over, for each point, two holds, an aggressive and a passive hold. I'll also go over why you would utilize the two different kinds of holds and when those situations are good to use. And then at the very end, I'll talk about off-classing options on all the different points of the map. So first off, I'm going to talk about holding mid aggressively. This will be the typical hold that you'll probably find yourself in most of the time. And you're going to use this hold when you have equal Uber or Uber advantage and you're about to push but you're not quite ready yet, and or you have a player advantage. I should be careful to note that if you are still at a significant Uber advantage, a player advantage probably cannot be utilized in this way, in that you won't be able to sustain an aggressive hold against an Uber. So here we see choke, sewer, and IT in the middle of CP process. What you've got here is you have your pocket soldier up in choke. He's spamming around or doing whatever, checking the situation out. Your demo man's there as well, doing virtually the same thing, although they should be careful not to go through the choke at the very same moment in case there's some kind of really tricksy trap or everybody shoots something at them all at once. That way they don't take the same damage and risk death by the fact that your medic can only heal one person at a time, really. Your medic is with them, healing them. Slightly behind them, there is a scout. And that scout's job is to periodically check into the sewers and make sure nobody's there, which really, once you do it once, you're okay, really, unless your pocket and demo both have to leave choke or don't look at it for some reason. So that scout there just periodically looks at it. This is important because this particular point is often quite difficult for teams to hold that don't have a lot of experience on the map, because they see three chokes, and that's so different from other maps like Snakewater, Gully Wash, Granary, that only really have two chokes from mid to two. This one has three, and so they've spread themselves too thin. Don't put people in the sewer unless you're going to sell out and throw a bunch of stuff in the sewer. Just have your scout look in there, make sure that nothing sneaky's going on, that they haven't snuck their combo in there or something, and the rest of the time he just chills out. And that's what the red lines are. If they try to push computer or anybody gets in trouble over there, he'll be able to get buffed quickly, quick 185, and then he'll run in the sewer and fight stuff, or IT rather. And you have your other scout there to help the roamer in the event that he has to do anything in IT other than just look at it. And that's more or less the aggressive hold. So you would use this when you have Uber advantage or when you have a player advantage and you're getting ready to push or to hold them out. Because if they're going to just Uber on you for the sake of Ubering on you, this hold will mean that you're going to be able to effectively deny them any ability to get into mid and with minimal losses, and also push onto two very quickly as soon as possible. And here we're going to talk about a passive hold of mid, and you would use this whenever you're at a player or Uber disadvantage, or you're not really sure what's going on. So here we see your combo on the health pack on the back side. Your pocket will essentially be standing on the crates looking at choke. Your demo is at the middle of the point, staring at choke basically, and in computer room. Your roamer is on the far right crates relative to you, so he's got a great look at the choke and the enemy's computer room, and his scout is behind him for added protection. The medic is then right by IT. What you're going to do here is force them to pop their Uber. They're going to come out of one of three places with their Uber, sewer, choke, or IT. And what you're going to do is when you see the medic coming, your three projectile users, the soldier, both soldiers and your demo, are just going to spam everything they've got at that guy and cause him to have to pop. Then you're all going to leave. So the roamer is going to rocket jump into the sewer and try to escape that way. The scout's going to run away along similar lines. Demo can sticky jump clean out of mid. And the pocket medic and that scout that they're with there will fall out through IT. And that's essentially the passive hold. You're giving up mid in order to get their Uber out. And then once you get Uber, which you should have advantage in as long as your medic doesn't die, then you just take mid right back. And if you happen to kill a bunch of their players, more players than you ended up having to give, then you get to hold mid for the rest of the game and probably take second as well. So this is just to get them to pop. Now, in the event that two things happen. One, their medic has the most massive ability to hold. Your roamer will sacrifice his or herself onto that medic to make them pop. That's preferably you won't have to do that, but you have to get their Uber to pop, and the roamer's has the easiest time doing it. Also, the scouts are where they are on the crates, so that if they try to send a bomber through early to get your medic or to pull you forward or something, the scouts will just tear it apart. And they really aren't going to engage. So the one clear thing I should outline here is in the event that you are going to attempt to jump to pop them, make sure that everybody's had their chance to shoot at them to make them pop, and that you call that you're going to do it. Say, I'm jumping them, because if you don't, somebody else is going to think, I should jump them, and then you're going to end up throwing away 2 or 3 people to get an Uber out, and you're going to lose mid, and you're going to lose second too. Now we're going to talk about holding second in the aggressive style, which you'll do when you have advantage in Uber or in players. So now we're going to talk about aggressively holding your own second. The way this works is you're going to have essentially the reverse of what you have on the other side when you're aggressively holding mid. Your pocket is going to be up in choke. Your medic is going to be on the ramp thing that'll let you walk up into IT and onto the bridge. So he'll be on there because it's really hard to shoot that, and if a roamer jumps over, then you just step off of it and he can't hit you essentially, or choose not to if he pre-fires the ground. In any case, so your pocket and your demo worry about that. You have a scout that's very close to you on the ground, and his job is to periodically peek Al-Qaeda, and which is the back door that's not facing the demo currently. And he'll just peek in there and make sure that nobody is in the sewers trying to do anything sneaky. And as long as nobody's in there, don't worry about the sewers. So, and he'll also get his buffs that way. And then if anything happens in IT, he'll go in there and fight. And with the help of the roamer and the other scout. The other scout watches lower IT, and if anything comes in there, then the roamer who's hiding in upper IT behind that wall will peek out and shoot it with one rocket. If the roamer's rocket hits, then your scouts will dive onto that guy as long as there's not a bunch of stuff with him, and probably kill him, and then you're ready to push because you have a man advantage. So just make sure that you listen. It's important for somebody that's going to be on the right side of this to have decent speakers so they can hear the shutter door on their side of sewer opening and closing. That can be really helpful, because then you'll just know to send your scout that's hanging around the combo to run over there and see what all has gone in sewer. Now we're going to talk about passively holding second, which you're going to do whenever you're at an Uber disadvantage or a player disadvantage. This is the passive hold for second. And what you've got here is a roamer on top of the big box looking thing there in the front. He's looking at the outside of upper IT, sewer, and choke. And also Al Qaeda. He's watching that as well. You've got a scout on the ground directly beneath him, more or less. And what that scout does is just periodically peek into IT and make sure that nobody is in there, especially the combo. Because if they are, then you're going to have to shift a little bit to the right with your soldiers and demo so as to spam those doors to get them to pop without having to sacrifice anybody's life. But most likely they'll probably go through choke because it'll be difficult for them to get in through IT with all of your explosive damage classes being right there and all. So that scout's just sighting that and then running back to the combo to get a buff periodically. And then your other scout stands on the spire. More or less what he does is if they attempt to bomb your medic for whatever reason, then that scout gives his life or tries to shoot out of the sky any jumping soldier. Then your demo hides on the back right and will spam choke and have traps and so on and so forth. Your combo will sit on the very back of the area called bats, and they'll just hang out there and not worry about anything other than building Uber. You could bring a scout back to do that as well and put your other soldier on the spire. That would work just as well. And essentially all you're doing here is you figure out where they're pushing from, because they're going to push on you. That's the only reason you would ever hold like this. And you use your demo and 2 soldiers to spam them into popping, and then everybody gets out as quick as they can without dying. In the event that the spam doesn't make them pop, maybe somebody didn't hear the call or something goes wrong, then the roamer from his perch will bomb onto whatever there is and pop the medic there. And that way you can get back to last with the knowledge that you've got Uber at least. Now I will note that this is something I sort of invented on my own, and other teams run variations of it. This is hard to do if your team is really new to process or to sixes in general, and maybe it's something that you could do together as a team building exercise. But I really like this hold, and I'll explain when to use it. You'll use it when you have Uber advantage, so it's, or player advantage. Same thing as you always would on an aggressive hold. Also, one thing I haven't yet mentioned, in this video anyways, is that whenever they run crits, you need to go to the aggressive hold. You don't want them to walk in on you, see where everything is, and then pick the perfect shot to kill your medic. So, just get set up aggressive. They can't crits on you in the face. They'll have to put it on a soldier, and everybody will be able to escape except for the first unfortunate soul that eats a rocket that does 130 some damage, or maybe enough to kill them. You'll find out, I suppose. But, or if they try to snipe, because you don't want the sniper to be able to wander around in your last point and figure out the very best angle for him to kill somebody. Just keep him out, and this is how you'll do it. So firstly, I'm going to explain this pretty carefully. The doors, as I show earlier in the video, are numbered 1 to 5. And what you've got there from left to right, and what you've got here is that your roamer is standing looking through 2 door. Your pocket is standing looking through 3 door. They cannot come in the lobby that way. Whatever comes in the lobby is going to get hit by 8 rockets. That's not very good for pretty much any class in the game. So they're just chilling out there, looking at stuff, spamming rockets occasionally to deny spies. Your medic keeps his back to the wall and heals the pocket. The demo watches for the hallway with the ramp up and traps whatever he feels like. And a scout watches banana, and if anything comes in banana, then the demo backs up and deals with that, because he can pretty much by himself keep people out of the banana. So the scout's just there for a pair of eyes. You can juxtapose the positions of the scout and demo and just have the scout watch in front, and the demo can cover both those doors pretty much by him or herself. So that's not as big of a deal. And then you have a heavy standing on the point. And what the heavy will do is they'll eventually think that they're going to push into this, and there are rails on either side of the point, and the heavy will just stand on the opposite side of the rails from wherever they are. So if they push in banana or 4, he'll just hop over the rails that are on the left and stand on there, because his bullets will go over the rail, but any projectiles, so rockets or pipes that are shot at him and hit the rail, will not hurt the heavy. So it's very difficult for them to do anything to the heavy, and you don't need to watch one door at all, because they can't come in there. That's impossible for them to get to one door without first being seen by the guys at 2 and 3 door. So you've pretty much locked them out. They can't really crits on you in any way, shape, or form, unless they, like, pop it and nobody hears it, and then they peek around and kill your demo. Like, that would be their best option, and they may still lose people in a trap. So that's all very real possibilities. And I circle the NGs here because if you've got enough time, you could get an NG if you wanted to, and those are the 2 best sentry spots, really. But I prefer a heavy. Never ever have 2 scouts on a last hold, ever. There's really no reason. So that's the forward hold. I like to run it. The main thing you have to watch out for is, particularly for medic, if you see anybody running along the catwalk in the back, that's a spy and he wants to kill you. But other than that, you really can't be hurt in any way, shape, or form. They have to try to push into you, and all you do is pop your Uber on them as close as you can. Everybody else backs up to the catwalk in the back, waits for the Ubers to finish out. Your combo backs up with the last remaining bits of their Uber, and then you just have a fair fight over the point where you have height advantage. That is, if they can get in at all. This is the hold you're typically going to see on a last on this map. So if aggressive isn't really working for you, then you can just do what everyone else does, and this will probably work. And this is the hold you're typically going to see basically most teams do, if they've watched a lot of TF2 recently. And so what you've got is your combo on the back right. Your pocket is looking at 5 and 4 doors, and also a little bit of a peek see at 3. Your medic's kind of hiding behind this pole that's there on the ramp there, and he can't really get sniped from there. And they just build Uber until they've got Uber. Once you've got Uber, you can scoot down the ramp a little bit, and then you basically just chill the rest of the time. You have a heavy hiding in the upper area. A lot of people call it sneaky or secret. And I call it the crouching heavy hidden fat man. And what you do as heavy I will explain later, but that's where you are. Your demo's on the upper left or upper right. He can pick wherever he wants to go, really. Just make sure that he's not in harm's way. And then you have a scout and a roamer watch one door, because a lot of teams really like to push one door, and it's good to put a lot of pressure on them early and prevent them from getting up on the ramp with your combo. And essentially all you're going to do is, if you don't have Uber, you're just going to see which way their combo came in and spam at it with your 3 projectile classes to get them to pop. And then whichever way they choose to go, they're going to try to go left and get on the ramp, or go right and jump your combo to your right and jump your combo. If they go to your right, you will go to the left and avoid them. And if they go to the left, then you just chill out because they're not going to come get you. And hopefully during all of that time, you've gotten Uber and you save the point. Uh, and then once the Ubers are over, your medic needs to know a call, and it's going to be your heavy player, and he or she is going to say left or right. And that means which way your hidden crouching heavy is going to come out a secret. At that moment, your medic needs to turn around and throw his heals at your heavy to get him 450, and he's just going to stand on the point using the guardrails to make it impossible to damage him, and you're going to hold last pretty easily at that point. And this is the hold most teams go for. You can also run an NG or a counter sniper if you really want to, but this is basically the best way to do it. And that's my rough guide to holding on process. In the next video, I'm going to talk about pushing last and also cover hiding and sticky spots.